Hello my loves and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nina and in today's video we're going to tease our hair all the way up to heaven. So one of the main things that women would do in the 60s with their hair was to tease their hair and make that beehive, bouffant type of hairstyle. And that's exactly what we're going to learn to do today. If you've seen my video about how to create that volume in your hair without teasing, you'll know that I'm not a fan of teasing my hair, but when I have something important or when I'm going to take pictures or things like that, I do try to tease my hair and use a lot of hairspray and do it in the traditional way, because that's how it's going to last a lot longer on top of your head. So today what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to tease, what are the steps and how to create that super huge beehive style in like Priscilla Presley way. And I'm also going to share how to take that out, like how to comb your hair in a healthy way so that it's not going to make your hair even more damaged than it is just by the fact that you're creating knots and things that of course your hair is not going to be happy with. So in order to do the teasing process, you'll need a hairbrush. This is a natural bristle brush, so I always recommend using this type of hairbrush, then a normal comb, something to hold your hair, so I'll just use hair clips, some hairspray, anything works. This is so hard to explain, but it's basically just beautiful magical powder that our chemical engineers of the world created, and it works fantastically. This is meant for you not to tease your hair too much, so just by doing some bit of teasing, which is a lot to be honest, but afterwards, instead of teasing even more, you just put a tiny bit of this texture powder and it's going to keep that pillow looking super big and just teased and volumized and yeah, everything else. And then with the hairspray, it's going to help everything sit in place. Okay, now going to the teasing process. First of all, we are going to do a halo sectioning in our hair. We want it to sit like right around here. And we're going to get that out of the way. Then we're going to grab another section and we're going to separate that as well. Just the second one should look like this. And now we're going to start the teasing process. So for the hair that is in this particular section, I am just going to first comb through it. Make sure that there are not any knots in there that you are going to tease. And this is the process you want to follow each time. So you are going to put your hair upwards, spray a little bit of hairspray, and now I'm just going to take my hairbrush and I'm going to back comb like this. So going downwards with the brush, you start up and then go down and you create the teasing. So this is the whole teasing. On the middle, downwards, on the middle, downwards. You want to do it under it and then on top. So same thing here. You start in the middle and go downwards and create that whole teasing in there, as you can see. Some hairspray to make it sit in place, and we're going to do that same thing on each strand of hair. We're starting on the bottom because we want it to be super high, like Priscilla Presley style, but you could select one specific section that you want instead of just doing it to all of your hair. I definitely don't recommend doing this every single time, every day, for every event, because it's brutal for your hair. I've said that before and I'll say it every single time. So first is spray some hairspray. Again, putting it up, we're going to go from the middle downwards onto the hair. You see all that volume? Now I'm just going to do the same on this side. You see the difference between this side and this side? Okay, so in order for it to look a little more like put together, we're always going to finish by just brushing it softly. We don't want to go through it. We just want to brush anything that might be like separated or just that it has created an actual beehive. We want to smooth that so that our hair looks super smooth on top of it. The idea is to create the volume that you can see here, but not to make it look like it has some like empty spaces in between. Now we're going to remove the second sectioning and we're going to go just with one bit of hair. So something important to know when it comes to teasing your hair is that first, if you have long hair, it's going to be a lot more difficult to do this because your hair is going to weigh down all the volume that you create. It's not impossible, but it's not as easy if you have longer hair in comparison to when you have like shorter hair. It's going to look a lot, it's going to be easier in general. Same thing happens if you have your natural hair. It's going to be a lot harder to tease your hair because when your hair is bleached, it's a lot drier and more damaged. That's just something that happens. There's no way around that. But the thing with having your hair a little bit damaged, even if it's just a little bit, it's that when you do this, it's going to create so much volume and so much like little teasing in here. You really have to go hard when you have natural hair and just tease that out. Something I like doing is just taking my hairbrush and doing this, not doing the whole like back and forward, because I found that creates the most volume where exactly where we want it to sit. And it's really important to go like really in here in this particular space so that it sits like that. So before I let go of this hair strand, I'm going to put a tiny bit of hairspray and I'm just going to keep my hair like holding it like this for a while because I want it to like dry looking up or staying up. So typically when I'm doing this, I am just walking around my house and watching a video or listening to something while I just walk like crazy like this. The idea is for it to dry this way, and that way I can just keep the volume going up. When it sits, it's going to sit over here. So as you can see, this is the result. From here all the way to here. And we're going to go with the next strand and same thing here. So walking through it again, you want to put your brush like this under. you want to brush backwards, like back combing, and you want to, when you reach the end, you just want to take it out and start over. You could do like this, but it's going to be a lot, it's going to harm your hair a lot more. So instead, you just want to do it like wherever you start. It can be at the ends, it can be closer, but just put your hairbrush in there and then back comb it, take it out and go again, and doing like that. If you are in front of the mirror, you'll start seeing this and you'll know when that's enough. What I do in order to know when it's enough of me just holding my hair like crazy, it's I touch it, and if the hairspray, it's still, like if I can feel it that it's not dried yet, then I'll just sit like this until it's completely dry. As I said, I typically walk around my house while doing this, and it dries faster because I'm just walking and the wind is doing most of the job, like it's blowing into it. But when I am done, I just let it go, and that's how it looks. And we're going to comb a little bit so that it sort of joins the rest of the hair. And now we're going to go with the last section. I'm going to show you before. Let me brush through this, all smooth through the different sectionings. Okay, now we are going to go with the last section, and we're going to start on the back, just a little section of that. Of course, I do it in the professional way of holding it with my lips, but it's the same process. So first I'm going to comb it, and as always I'm going to go upwards so that I am also creating volume in here. Something important as well is that my hair, it's like on its 3rd day after hair wash day, so it's not super clean, which also helps this like teasing stay in place. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hair strand, spray it with hairspray, and now I'm going to start with the comb instead, and I'm going to start really close to my scalp, going downwards. Same thing here, just introducing it close to my scalp, going downwards, and then taking it out, and then again on another side, and just going through everything. This is going to make the teasing super close and super like tight in there. And I'm going to do the same on the other side, so on top of the hair, starting close to the scalp. And when I reach almost like all this first part here, I'm going to go with the hairbrush, and I'm just going to do it as normal. Okay, now we are going to comb a little bit, not too much, because this is where our volume is going to sit. All the weight from the rest of the hair is going to sit here, so we don't want to touch it too much, but we want to smooth it out as we did with the rest of the hair. And if necessary, we can also sort of move it around so that it goes to the sides. And now we're going to take a little bit of our texture powder, and we're going to put a little bit on top of this. So I'm just going to put it on my hand. Going to the next section, we want to take it to the side, so we are just going to select a section from here. Same thing, combing upwards, hairspray. Now back combing with the comb, so starting down and really close to the scalp. Now I'm going to use some volume powder. So this is the last hair strand that I'm going to use for the volume on the back. And again, I'm going to repeat the same process. For this hair strand, we're going to tease the back and not a lot of the front, because right now we're reaching the point where people are going to be closer to what's going to be visible. So we don't want to tease that too much. Now we just sit here until we're done with this hair strand. So now I'm going to expand this to the sides. We are going to use again a tiny bit of powder, and the last hair strand we are going to divide in 3. So one that goes to the back, and the other 2 we're going to separate, or the other one we're going to separate in 2, so that one goes to one side and the other to the other. So this one first, we are just going to put some hairspray on the back. We are going to back comb. And we are going to brush on this other side. And we're just going to put it on top of our hair. Afterwards, we're going to make a better job at combing so that we get everything to be super smooth. But right now we just let it sit in there. And this one I'm going to divide into equal parts, and then I'm just going to take one side, same thing for this one. Now I'm just combing my hair to make everything super smooth on top so that we don't see any teasing. And when everything is smooth enough, we are going to use our final bit of hairspray. And we're going to let it dry. So now my bangs are making this part look like this, while the other bit is super like white. So I am wondering if I should go back. I think we should go full Priscilla Presley today, so I'm going to start with my bangs as well. I am going to take a tiny bit of hair, and I'm going to do the same. Yes. Okay, so after just playing too much, I'm going to comb it backwards. Okay, so in order to look a little more like Priscilla, I'm just going to make it sit like my natural hair. So this is the final look. I'm just super happy with it. And I just took some Priscilla Presley pictures as a reference for this because at some point I was like, yes, we need to go for high hair and getting the bangs out. And I took this picture as a reference. You see that it's not like super big of a hair, like this picture for example, which is just a lot. I could also go for a half up, half down, just to keep my hair looking a little bit like even bigger than it is now. But we're not going to do that today. I think that it is fine the way it is. I also didn't flip it up as people typically did in the 60s, as I'm just using Priscilla Presley as a reference. She seems to have her hair just with natural curves instead. Later today, when I have to take all of this off, I'll show you how I do it, how's my process of combing my hair. You don't want to sleep with your hair in like a beehive situation because it's going to get even worse with the knots and everything. So I'm going to share my secrets of how to take this off. But for now, we're just going to enjoy our super huge beehive hairstyle. So after a big day and a long day of keeping my hair like this, I am just going to take it off. So my hair just stood out quite teased throughout the afternoon, and now before I go to sleep I need to just undo this. You should never ever sleep with hair looking like this, because if this is already quite teased, by the time you wake up after moving while you sleep, this is just going to be a nest, and you don't want that. That's not healthy for your hair. So yeah, we're just going to remove this, and I'm going to tell you all the tips on how to do that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of oil, and we're just going to use a tiny bit on our hands, and we're just going to put that on our hair. Okay, so when I don't see any more oil in my hands, I can just go to the next step. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this atomizer. It used to be a product that I'm not showing the brand. It's a heat protectant, but I like the thingy here. It works fantastic. So I just reuse the bottle. So I just filled the bottle with some water, and I'm just going to add a little bit of conditioner here, if I may. We are going to shake that up. I'm going to check that it's all together. It is. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray that into my hair. And what we're going to do is we're going to take another comb. It could be wider than this, but this is the widest comb that I have, so that's what we're going to use. And we're going to start combing our hair in the ends, and we're going to go up. So we start here, and when we see that everything is just going through without any issues, we're going to start going up and up. And we have to be super patient with this process. We want to get in there unteasing our hair, being super careful. If we find any knot that doesn't seem too easy to undo, then we are either going to spray a little more in there, or we are going to try to undo that knot with our fingers. So we want to get in there with our fingers and just try to undo that. Anything else, we are just going to try and do with a comb. Wherever we feel like there's something that it won't pass naturally, we want to stop there. We either want to go with our fingers through it until we find the knot and separate it, being super careful with our hair, and then we just try to reach the ends. So anything that stops the comb, we're going to stop as well. We're going to go with the fingers. We're going to check whatever needs separating in there. So I have some things to detangle here, and I'm going to open, and then to do the zigzag, I'm just here's a knot, and I'm just going to sort of move in a zigzag way. So sort of opening the way, but instead of just going in a straight line, I sort of want to open it from side to side. And now I'm just going to keep doing this to the rest of my hair. Okay, so almost, I would say, an hour after just starting this process, I already detangled all of my hair. It is normal to spend an hour doing that, but it is for a good cause. It is because I was being super patient with my hair. And as you can see, even now that it's detangled, it's really voluminous anyway. That's because of the texture powder, and also because of the whole hairspray in the middle. Like, those things are going to make your hair pop a little more. So now I'm just going to go with my natural bristle brush, and I'm just going to make sure that everything is detangled. As you can see, I can just go right through it. And with that brushing process, it took so long. So what I typically do is I start putting a little bit of the conditioner first in here, and then I start shampooing. You know that you are supposed to use shampoo on your scalp, and it will just wash and clean everything downwards, but you're not supposed to use shampoo on the ends. And then when I take off the shampoo and the conditioner wears off as well, I then take a hair mask and I put it on my hair. So after such a process like this, I will definitely put the hair mask and wait for like 5 minutes. And then I'm just going to take it off, put some conditioner to seal the hair, and that's basically all the super long process that it takes to take all that teasing off. It is a process, that's why I don't like doing that, but it looks fantastic and it looks super glamorous. That was everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and also how to take care of your hair afterwards while you are taking that whole teasing process off. Thank you so much for joining and for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!
But they sure got some cuties incorrect.